Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Donjo number 1158-628 aluminum door offset pull. And this is a particular pull as inferred in the part number. The part number, of course, defines what we're dealing with. We're dealing with, in this case, a 12-inch center-to-center pull that is an offset style pull that features these epically large through bolts. A very nice bolt size that's on there, and in a very fine thread as well. That will we'll get to that in a moment. So the 1158 is, and I'm pulling up the link below this video to the product catalog. The 1158 can be used as a pull only, or you can also purchase it as a set that will have a push bar on the opposite side. But 12-inch center to center is the 1158, and as you change that number, like maybe to an 1157 or 1156, you'll change from a 10 to an 8-inch center to center. So that's really important. And I'll tell you, 12 inches not that common, although would be very appropriate to use if you have an exit device and you need to basically get over the head case of your exit device, and maybe you've got just a small cylinder that's there, okay? Or maybe you have 8-foot tall doors, and having a pull that's 8-inch center to center, you know, taller door, you might want taller hardware. If you've got a kitchen in a residential application where you have, you know, 10-foot ceilings and you've got cabinets that really run up, you're not going to put 4-inch poles on those. You're going to be looking for 12-inch poles. So, you know, whatever the reason you need 12-inch, maybe you want something just a little bit larger. This would be a good option for you. They'll do in the 1-inch diameter, which I'm stammering to tell you is also part of this part number. They'll be able to do in 1-inch diameter 8, 10, 12, 8, 9, 10-inch, 12-inch, and 18-inch centers. 18's somewhat uncommon. The common ones are going to be 8, 9, and 10, probably more so 10. 9 is not unheard of, nonetheless. You can also do this 90-degree pull in a 3/4-inch diameter. Those are generally uncommon. Now the dimensional properties. This is going to have a projection of 3.5 inch, which means your clearance is going to be 2.5 inch. From the face of the door to the inside of the pole is going to be 2.5 inch, because that's 1-inch diameter. And there is a really important paragraph in that product catalog to the Americans with Disabilities Act, stating that hardware needs to be easy to grasp with one hand, does not require tight grasping, tight pinching, or twisting of the wrist to operate. Lever-operated mechanisms, push-type mechanisms, and U-shaped handles are generally acceptable designs. And it goes on to talk about that. You don't want to have your hardware mounted no higher than 48-inch from the finished floor. It doesn't really... I believe it is correct to say that nowhere in the code does it actually tell us that 2.5 inch is mandatory. However, you will find 2.5 inches defined as handicap compliant by manufacturers. And the fact that this is certainly compliant with handicap rating as a result of its general design, because that design is within the spirit of the code, you will find 2.5 inch as normal. You can have a knob on your lock, and that knob, to turn the knob, is going to require a turning of the wrist. Well, if you have a lever, you can also turn your wrist, but with a lever, you don't have to turn your wrist to make that happen. And that's what they're trying to prevent, that tight turning or twisting or pinching of the wrist area, really. This can be done in aluminum-based material, which is referred to in the 628 part number. That means it's made of aluminum, that it has a clear anodized finish. This appears to have a lacquer on it, however, which I wouldn't argue as being a bad idea. We'll give you some protection. We'll certainly give you more protection to not being lacquered. But all things hardware, things do, of course, fatigue and fail with time. Now, this, and you can also do it in a solid brass, solid bronze, or stainless-based material. And onto all of these architectural metals, you can do the finish that you want. Your brasses, your bronze, your chromes, your stainlesses, your polished, your satin, your antique, things of that nature. So Danjo can accommodate that. Other pull designs are also mentioned and listed in that product catalog. So if you're open to what you're looking for, by all means, review the rest of the catalog before making a decision. And if you are replacing one, you're going to want to first make sure that the center is correct. The diameter then should be correct. And you probably want to stick with the same general shape. If you're doing a pair of doors, you might want to replace them both because the way that this is bent is probably not going to exactly match the existing, or in your case, maybe it just doesn't matter if it's a perfect fit, whatever. Now, on page 14B of that product catalog, it refers to the different mounting types that are available. Now, the offset poles, as mentioned in what's called a Type 1 or through bolt mount, when it's an offset, you're going to have a 3/8 bolt and a 24 thread. It's going to be the heaviest duty kind of bolt that you can get your hands on. And that makes sense why they'd put that on an offset pole, because these pole handles take a serious amount of abuse. And having 24 threads versus a typical 3/8 16 thread is going to give you a lot more surface area of the bolt meeting the door. A couple of washers, and those bolts are literally going to go right through the door. Okay, that huge heavy bolt. I'd be looking to drill like a 7/16 hole, something in that range. However, you can order these poles in all of these different types of mounting packages as well that are listed on that page. You can do a decorative bolt, like a Type 14 would be very common. If you were doing, well, a Type 14 would be appropriate, but you could also do, a Type 4. It'd give you a nice decorative head on that sort of through bolt if you're doing a glass door, concealed mount, back-to-back mount, things of that nature. Okay, so that's all available there as well from Danjo. I'm partial to Danjo, and it's not, well, it's specifically because I like their people. They've got a product manager over there, and she gets it done. She has people that work with her, and they get it done. Prompt, reliable, predictable shipping lead times. You can actually pick the phone up and talk to one of these people over there, and occasionally they can produce a miracle for you. It's like Danjo is a classic, traditional, old-fashioned company in that regard, where you get someone whose career is hardware, like mine, who understands the product, who knows all phases of it, from sweeping the floor to shipping the product out to doing some of the manufacturing, then selling, and then technical supporting it as well. So I'm partial to Danjo, a relatively petite footprint in the marketplace, but they do a really good job with it. If you know their name, you probably do because of their door reinforcing wraparound plates and their latch protectors. But the link below this video to the manufacturer's page will allow you to review not only all of the Danjo products that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's website, but a link to their full catalog and all of the subsections. I would encourage you to review the Danjo product line beyond just that specialty hardware that they do. They do a good job with the regular stuff as well. Your flat goods, your push and pull hardware, your kick plates. They'll do spring hinges, and they've got some ladder poles, and they have some pivots. And they'll get into accessory hardware like signage as well. Any questions on the Danjo 1158 pull handle or any other Danjo product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.